Welcome to our podcast, Može kafa. We are Ivana
and Maki,
your host. In this podcast, we discuss interesting details about Serbian language and culture from a learner's and teacher's perspective.
We offer new and fun resources for learners of Serbian. To follow each episode with annotated script, vocabulary, and quizzes, join us also at Može kafa podcast on Instagram. So if you're ready, grab a cup of coffee and enjoy the podcast.
Dobro jutro svima. This is Maki and Ivana. Sorry, I didn't let you say. This is...
No worries. Zdravo. Ovdje je Maki.
Ovdje je Maki I Ivana. We're wishing you a great morning. We're starting our morning with a coffee. She has her coffee in her cup, kitty cup, and I have mine in my antique sort of cup.
Today we will talk about an interesting part of Serbian culture. I mean, it's not... I don't know if we should call it culture, but I think it's something common here.
Yeah, I think it tells a lot about our kind of personality and mentality and so on. Yeah.
So smoking.
Smoking in Serbia. You know, it's obviously an important topic. We wouldn't be discussing it if it wasn't.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, I actually wanted to start with, do you smoke, Maki?
No, I don't. Actually, I did. Like, I was a social smoker years ago, maybe 6 years ago. We quit together with my husband.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, since then,
nice.
that was one of the best decisions in our lives.
Oh yeah, I mean, health-wise, money-wise.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to quit?
I mean, I didn't like the smell the day after, like on my hair, in my mouth, on my coat, especially in the winter. It was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel like good about it.
Yeah. And
how about you?
I don't smoke. I think I tried it like 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. They say that even like the first time you smoke, you either get the addiction activated in your body, like I don't know what gets activated, or you don't. And I think it just didn't work for me. I mean, when I was younger, I actually didn't mind smoking at all. So I always thought I would start smoking. I mean, I knew that I wouldn't be like drinking so much because I just didn't like the taste of alcohol. But smoking was just like, it's okay for me. Sometimes I even kind of liked it. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to start smoking when I get older. But it just never clicked for me. And it was just kind of this thing, like it just wasn't interesting, wasn't a priority. I wasn't trying to get away from it, but it just kind of like never happened.
How about your family? Was it common, like in your family?
Yeah, actually my mom stopped smoking when we were younger. It was a period of recession, so they really like struggled with money, so she said, listen, I would much rather buy fruits for them and not like buy cigarettes for me, because it was kind of like a similar price. My dad still smokes. He used to smoke quite a lot when I was younger, but now he just smokes sometimes, which is, you know, as a non-smoker, when someone tells me that they're smoking, I think, oh, you smoke like 5 times a day. But actually, they just keep lighting the cigarette, which is sometimes even the whole package. Like not the package, but, you know, like a 20 or 25. It just goes in a day. And that's something that really surprised me. But I think my dad maybe smokes like 3 times a day. Maybe up to 5, which is, I think, fine.
I really admire these people who can like limit the number of cigarettes, because in Turkey, if you smoke at least 1 packet. I mean, there are people, of course, who smoke less than that, but still, it's very common to finish 1 packet every day.
Yeah, actually, I just want to mention a situation. I was studying in Austria. When I went to Austria, I had to work to get some money. I mean, to have some money over there. So I was basically scraping by, I was just surviving. So it was never even on my mind to start smoking or like spend money on that. I had Turkish friends who used to smoke. And they said, oh, you know, now in Austria, like cigarettes are quite expensive. So they thought that that's going to make them smoke less.
Yeah.
But the reverse happened. They started smoking more.
Oh my.
I don't know why that is, but usually people, like all of my friends who used to smoke, they even smoke way more
I see.
in Austria, where it was expensive. I don't know what kind of
Yeah, actually, I read on
was.
World Atlas website, like most of the smokers are in the developing countries, like in developed countries, which like do not have any financial problems. They don't smoke, and when they are poor, they smoke more. So that's
exactly. I don't get it, but
we
anyway.
have a proverb for that in Turkish. Like it means like
what is it?
If it is done, like, I cannot translate it literally, but there is no escape. So just get drowned faster.
Yeah.
Like that.
Just, if it's bad, let us drown. Yeah. So you said you wanted to talk about some words.
Yes.
So smoking, to smoke, is actually pušite.
Pušite. Yeah. So
yes.
Ja pušim.
Yes.
Or
you can just say pušim.
Or ne pušim.
Exactly.
Because
good.
they offer cigarette here. Like when they're smoking on the same table, they automatically offer. And I'm like, I don't smoke, I hear, but ne pušim.
Ne pušim. Or they would probably ask you just pušiš.
Pušiš.
And offer you, that's like the second person singular. Or they can ask you, are you a smoker? And a smoker is pušač. Yes. And that's for girls and guys. So they're not going to ask you.
That's nice.
So they would ask you, da li si pušač? Exactly.
Okay.
So you would say da, ne, whatever, depending on what you are. Good, you're writing it down.
Yeah,
Nice.
right.
I want to just mention that the verb pušiti also has a really, really bad connotation, and we're not going to talk about it in this episode, but just people be aware of that, and you can check it out on the internet. So, but that's it. And I also wrote down something that I found is that goes hand in hand with what you said, which is people in like poorer countries smoke more, and I found that it is very prevalent in the Balkan countries.
That's true.
So Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, not as much in Croatia, but still not North Macedonia, Greece, Albania. So it's not only Serbia, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Especially Greece, an EU country. I mean, financially poor, but still an EU country, and it is actually on the World Atlas statistics, it's number 3, and Serbia is number 4. Among the countries that smoke the most cigarettes. So their percentage is 42, and Serbia is 41.6.
And what are the first two?
Kiribati, I don't know. It's in the South Pacific. It's a small country there. Nauru.
Okay. Nauru. Okay. I thought for sure it was gonna be Serbia.
No, like among the countries that we know, the first one is Greece, number 3, and then Serbia, and then Jordan. Goes like this.
There you go. We don't have to win everything.
No,
it's fine.
No, especially this one. You should be happy to lose.
Exactly.
I mean, you're a sports nation, and then smoking is also very prevalent. I find it kind of controversial, to be honest.
Yes, it is a bit contradictory, and I mean, it's funny also medical workers. My sister works as a nurse, and she is surrounded by people who are heavy smokers. So I mean, her friends, I knew that they smoked. So it was kind of this paradox, like, oh, you're working in the health industry, you're telling people what to do, and you're the one who's smoking. Kind of like, I'm like, okay. And I'm not even in that industry, and I have this conscience that it's pretty bad probably, and it's kind of like a waste, But then again, I never felt like that much attracted to it, so maybe I'm biased.
Maybe. And one question from me, I heard that you say smoke like a Turk, so that means,
I think,
how do you say it in Serbian? Pušiš? Pušiš. Kao
Turčin.
Okay.
Yes.
Pušiš kao Turčin.
Yes.
So why do you say that? You smoke more.
I think it's because, in your kafana, there would be like smoking nargila, right?
Yeah, nargila thing. Yeah.
I think because of that, I don't think because you smoke cigarettes. I don't know. I don't think it's because of that, but it's just that culture of like sitting down, enjoying and smoking. Because you can smoke these like for the longer time. It's
for
not, they're not
hours.
as bad as, are they? They're not as bad as
No,
cigarettes.
actually they are worse. But like
wow, I didn't know that.
one sip, let's say, is like more than 2 cigarettes actually.
Oh my God.
They say.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But
you know why?
as the water like kind of
evaporates,
bubbles there, it seems like innocent, but actually it is not.
You know what's funny? My sister went to Tunisia, I think, and she bought one nargila. I mean, we say nargila because it's feminine, nargila. And she brought it, and I mean, and we tried it, and my parents were like, okay, whatever, you can smoke it. Like, they knew we wouldn't smoke it like every day, but they were like, they didn't care. But exactly, but if they saw us with a cigarette, they would fucking slap us, you know? So that was a bit funny, but I tried it once, and it just, you know, you need to keep buying like the what is it, also the flavor, and this, it's just like
cleaning is one of the worst parts.
Oh, we never clean. Because we tried it once or twice, like whatever. Okay,
right.
So smoking, and we have a topic which is smoking in social situations.
All right.
And I can tell you that in Serbia that is completely accepted. No one ever, like, I think in the last few years, people would actually ask, like, you know, do you mind if I smoke? But you know, it's people used to smoke in my house. My parents used to smoke in our house, and my friends smoked. It's actually like, even when we were in kind of like primary or secondary school, however you want to call it, I knew some people that would smoke. And I think it was like a thing you do, you know. Not as many, but yeah, people would smoke, and it's usually like, you know, the delinquents, so like the guys that were not like bad guys or whatever. Girls not as much. But yeah, in high school, it's already kind of like you're going out, and it's just accepted, and it's this social smoking, as you say, and that's what draws you in. So
my flat is looking over a park here in the center of Kruševac, and I see many people like hanging out in the park, and especially young people, high schoolers, before they go to school, they smoke like early in the morning, and I'm like,
they wake up early, so they
they spend a few minutes there, smoke together, and then they walk to school.
I can tell you one thing. So it's parks for like, you know, high schoolers or like, you know, pupils or whatever. And it's also kindergartens, because kindergartens work until, what was it, like 12, 1, 2, I don't really know. They don't work that late. So like in the afternoon or in the evening, you go over there, because you like over there you can actually sit somewhere. You're like, that's
open.
The reason why.
That's something interesting as well. The gardens are open.
Yeah, exactly. Which is sad, because anyone can come in and just like destroy things, which they do. But yeah, this is where you can also find the younger people smoking. Exactly. So it was in cafes and bars, in clubs, everywhere you could smoke, and I hated it because as a girl, you spend like 1 hour. Like, you take a shower, you wash your hair, you apply all of this smell, you put on makeup, like everything, like you I don't know, iron your hair, do whatever you want, and it's like a 1 or 2 hour process with your friends, and you're all ready, and you go over there, and then you get out, and you're just a pile of smoke.
You smell like
your hair smells. Guys, if you don't have long hair, you don't know what I'm talking about, because the stench sticks. It's there even the day after, even the days following, and it's like, it's not okay. You shouldn't wash your hair every day. So you're kind of like, okay, now I smell, what do I do, you know?
That's really sad. And when I go to the Western cafes here, it says smoking is not legal, but somewhere smoking is okay here, like by the health ministries. I translated it was in Serbian. So they put these like signs on the tables. You are allowed to smoke here. Health ministry on the like. I wanted to post it. It was like so funny.
Yeah, you are allowed to smoke. Go for it. So yeah, actually, I want to talk about that, because I looked at some stats later on, and it was allowed. Like, smoking was allowed everywhere up to 2010. Then, you know, they've been trying to enforce these restrictions, but something someone is just like not having it because you know that's a big industry. And what they could do, the only thing they could do is they could forbid it in closed places and in transportation.
Yeah, that
But
happens. I mean,
yes,
they really banned it.
yeah, but closed spaces only that are smaller than 80 meters square. So if they're bigger, then it's allowed. And what you can do is you can create divisions, like actual, like, you know, division or dividers, or you can just say, okay, this to the left they're smokers, and to the right they're not smokers.
In the same room.
The air is the same, right?
Yes, I
So it
find
kind of
it
makes
funny.
no sense. Yeah. So that's what they've been doing. But imagine up to 2010, they smoked everywhere. Like you can smoke everywhere.
In the
so
bus and
how
everywhere.
important is exactly in the buses too.
And in Austria, I think Austria was one of the last countries in Europe that banned smoking in public places as well, right?
Well, it makes sense. There's a lot of us over there. But I think I also read some like interviews and some studies, and basically they said people like the only thing that would make them stop smoking or like reduce it is the price of the cigarettes.
Yeah.
And prices in Serbia are, by the way, they like vary from there's like from €2 up to like 5, 6, depends, you know, which type you want. And there's a rule that every 6 months they increase it to be like plus €10. So if it's like 10
cents.
dinars. So if today it's like 200, then in 6 months it's going to be 210 dinars. Yeah. And the reason why they're doing that is that we get accepted in the EU. So that's kind of like one of the reasons, but I'm guessing also like, you know, they want to slowly start reducing it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But 10 dinars is quite cheap.
It's nothing. It's nothing. But if you think about it but from 2010, you know,
if you are a regular smoker,
there.
In 10 years you will pay the double.
All right, let's give a short break now, and then we will continue with interesting stats about smoking in Serbia.
Hi, I'm here to help you out with starting a new podcast. As a long-time user of Buzzsprout, I can vouch that this website really makes it easy to just get things moving. All that you need is to pick an idea, a niche, you have to be consistent with the content, and of course you need a quiet space and some basic gear, for example, a mic. You can choose the plan that suits you best, and in return, you get a customizable podcast website, an easy way to share your podcast to major platforms like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and some more, of course. If you follow the link in the show notes and sign up for a paid plan, Buzzsprout will provide you with a $20 Amazon card, which will in turn keep the show running. I wish you best of luck with starting your podcast, and now let's continue with our morning coffee chat about everything Serbian. Yeah, and then there's some stats that I found. There's several studies, but one that I found like specifically on Serbian, like Serbia overall, not only on Europe. It was in 2017. So mind you, these like, you know, figures have changed probably. I don't know to which extreme. So 37% of people are like young adults from the age of 18 and above smoke. So like 18-year-olds and older smoke 37%. When we talk about students,
1 in 3, I mean.
Yeah.
Among 3 people, there's always one smoking.
Exactly. So very difficult to avoid it. Yeah. But then when you look at students, when I say students, I mean also like pupils, like in primary, secondary, and like, you know, probably not
over 10
primary
maybe.
when they're 7, like, but yeah, they say between the ages of 13 and 15, 11% smokes. Can you imagine that? That was like kind of striking for me. Yeah. I didn't think about that. There are annually 15,000 deaths during smoking, which if you think about it is not that much, but still, you know,
it affects it. That's a lot.
You know, now I think probably changes because of COVID. Because the virus affects mostly people which have like smokers or that have a higher risk. Because, you know, like one of the biggest symptoms is coughing and lungs. You know, if it goes to lungs, then you're basically dead.
Yeah,
So
I hope there will be a
guys,
study showing how many people quit smoking during COVID-19 in Serbia or in general. I mean, it's going to be
I
very
personally
difficult.
think it's not. I think it does not change that much. They
Really.
would probably stay at home, keep smoking
By
like,
themselves.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some of the other figures, like 59% of students, like attending schools, have someone who smokes at home.
It's a
So
lot.
imagine, even if it's not in school, you have someone you're constantly exposed to it at home.
Passive smoker
And
you are. That means.
yes, you are a passive smoker. I mean, I definitely
Me
was.
too. Me
Like,
too.
there you go. Then 58% of students are exposed to smoke in closed public spaces, which makes sense because, cafes and everything.
Yeah, bars.
Yeah. And look at this one. 61% of students think that smoking is not healthy.
Yeah, that is the enough. Maybe they know that it's not healthy, but they still want to try it. Smoke.
But I when I looked at it, it was like 61, and I'm thinking, well, still, it's kind of like low for me. I mean, most of the people that I know, that they're like, we know it's not healthy, but usually you don't really die because of smoking. So it's kind of like, it's okay. Like, it's not gonna, unless you have some, like, get some virus or whatever that attacks the lungs. But I still, like, man, like, everyone would
It
say
should be
it's not
80%
healthy.
or
Yeah.
90, you would say, right?
Yeah, and then 82% of youth supports forbidding smoking in closed areas.
That's nice.
So they're like, yeah, that's rational.
That means
right?
they are annoyed by that smell, as we do.
Yeah. So which kind of gives me like more of an idea. Okay, like, it's actually not healthy. I don't want to smell. It maybe, but then there's this thing. Out of 100, 90% of adults support forbidding smoking in restaurants.
Just 19?
Yes.
So they're happy
For,
smoking indoors.
14% is of support forbidding smoking in cafes. That's like out of 100. So 19, 14, and 13 in clubs.
Okay.
I'm really disappointed in my country and in my people. I mean, you would think that they actually know, I know, like, they're aware, okay, it's an addiction. I'm just okay with that. But like, in this way, you're affecting other people. You're, as you said, like, we become passive smokers.
Yeah. Maybe it's like something that they are used to, and they accept it as it is. So they don't think like they've been living their life happily like that. I mean, it's just a minor problem for them. Maybe that's why they don't.
It's they grew up in a culture which it's such a normal thing. It's not even like meant to be like bad or anything, or anyone wouldn't condone it, so it's like, I feel like it's so normal that even if someone says, "Can you please not smoke next to me?" They'll be like, "What a snob!"
Yeah,
what a snob! Like, but one of the things I know is that more and more people are starting to forbid smoking inside because inside their homes, because that the walls can also get really
curtains,
yellow,
carpet,
and the curtains smell and so on. And then, like, whoever comes to our home, they always ask us now, like, is it okay if I smoke? And then if we say
to the balcony,
yes,
please.
just to the balcony, or open the window and smoke on the window. That's one of the things, that they do. So then not a lot comes in, and sometimes you allow it. You're like, okay, on special occasions, that's fine, because it's not going to be that bad. If it's like once a month, it's okay. But even some smokers, they don't like people smoking in their homes because of that.
I will tell you something funny. My father has been smoking. He tried to quit a few times, but each time when he tried, he restarted with a higher level of smoking. So we said, okay, don't try anymore. We're happy like that.
just keep smoking.
And when I was a kid, I wouldn't have the courage to ask him not to smoke inside. I would change my room, but I wouldn't ask him to go out, But in 10 years, like not in 10, maybe more than maybe 15 years, because of the restrictions in Turkey, you cannot even smoke in kafanas. Like we call them kahvehane, so you need to go out. And somehow they implemented this rule. Somehow it worked. People really stopped smoking indoors. And my father, he didn't even like force him, but as he was not smoking indoors outside, he wasn't smoking inside the room as well. Like he would go out to smoke. And I was at university. I come back home and I'm like, he's not smoking inside. And that's normal for him. He doesn't even complain about it. Like he accepted. Okay. If you like really follow the restrictions, like government based, I mean, if you really push people, somehow they will break down or they will give up, I guess.
Yes, yeah. It's a new normal as well,
Yes.
right? It just becomes a new normal and it's fine, and like our kids are gonna have that new normal and they're gonna be like, what? You used to smoke next to, like what?
Yeah. Like we say now, they used to smoke in planes. Can you imagine this? Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh, wow, yeah, I didn't think of that. But it's like that's extreme. But I remember when I was in Austria and then like there's like a party in the club. Yeah, and there would no one in the public transport, but like we were in the club or something, and then all the smokers would go outside, like it's -10 or whatever, and they're smoking like
trembling.
Oh my god, like shivering. Yeah, exactly, and smoking, and I'm like, I hate the cold, so I would not go, even if someone asked me for a sec. I'm like, no, I'm staying inside. I am not gonna like the desire to smoke is so strong that you need to like go out and like shiver and
yeah, that's really
and
a barrier for me too.
Yeah. One more thing is I wanted to say is that my dad, because of smoking, has this thing he does like this
yeah
all the time.
Every morning coughing as well, because my father has that.
He doesn't cough that much, but he constantly has that thing where he has to clear his throat. And I do that too. I notice, not as often as he, but I do that too. And I think it's because of that, because I was exposed to it. And maybe it's like a habit that I heard him, so I do it too. But every time I do it, I'm like, man, I don't like this because it shouldn't be normal. Like, like what? So there you go. Guys, don't smoke in houses with your kids.
And I will tell you my wish. Probably I will stay here 3-4 years, and maybe in that time, during that period, somehow this will get reduced. I mean, smoking indoors, and I will observe that change, and I will see how it goes. I really wish that.
Yeah, maybe we can revisit the topic in 3-4 years and see like
with the new statistics.
Yeah, and for me it will be different because I come and go, right? So next time I go to Serbia, like, every time I will probably be shocked because of something. And hopefully that's going to be a good shock.
Okay, one thing. How do we say in Serbian, don't smoke, please?
Let me just say, nemoj. I'm just thinking how to say it politely. Give me a second. Okay, we would plainly said would be nemoj molim te da pušiš, or molim te nemoj da pušiš.
Te is like for tea, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm asking you, I'm pleading you, I'm begging you. Molim te, nemoj da pušiš. Don't smoke. But there's a way how you can say like more organically. It would be like, could you please, something like that, So that would be. I'm gonna say it. We're gonna have to write it down. Jel možeš molim te da ne pušiš?
Huh.
Which is
it possible?
Yeah. Jel is could you, like the question word. Možeš, which is can, is it possible, basically. Molim te, again, which is like kind of begging, pleading. Jel možeš molim te da ne pušiš u kući, for example, in the home, or ovde, here.
So molim te da ne pušiš, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or someone would also ask you if I come into your home and I ask, can I can I smoke? They can ask, jel mogu da zapalim? Or da li mogu da zapalim? Which means zapalim means to light on fire, which means to light their cigarette.
Okay. Zapalim.
Yeah.
So you don't need to say cigarette because you're already showing it in your hand. Yeah.
And you can say jel mogu da zapalim ovde? Ovde. Here again.
Yes.
Mogu, again, it's so flexible, so you can say jel mogu ovde da zapalim.
Okay. And in the restaurant, sorry, you cannot smoke here, maybe the waitress will say, by any chance. So ne možeš da...
No, you would say it's forbidden to smoke in here. So it would be ovde je zabranjeno pušenje. Forbidden. Yeah, exactly. Do you know, actually there's a group called Zabranjeno pušenje.
Really?
Music group.
Music group. Wow. Okay, we should add it to our story then, because so it's our message for today.
The truth.
So pušenje is like smoking as a noun.
Yes, a noun,
right?
Smoking. Yeah, Zabranjeno pušenje, a rock band. It's actually a Bosnian rock band formed in Sarajevo. There you go. So now you know. You can connect it to the group.
Okay, thanks for sharing this. And thanks for all the stats as well.
Yeah, another thing that I want to say, whenever I use yell, which is not a standard way, it's kind of like an informal way of saying a question word, you can always replace it with a more formal option, which is dali. So I just use yell because it's just such a like spontaneous, it's just like casual way to say it, but you can always replace it with dali if you want to be more formal.
I never used yours. I always use dali because that's the one I learned and I'm using it. But maybe I should start using yours to sound like more casual.
Well, if they use it over there, then yeah. But if they don't, then just use whatever they use in your area, But I just use yell quite a lot. But guys, that's not a proper way to say it.
Okay, hvala puno.
Nema na čemu. Nemojte da pušite.
Nemojte da... Wait, say it again.
Nemojte da pušite.
Nemojte da pušite.
Molim vas. Okay, we have fun. Thanks for tuning in and see you in the next episode, which is going to be on...
We still don't know. Maybe music this time.
Okay, maybe music. Okay. Bye-bye. Приятно.
All right, bye.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed our podcast and learned something new.
In case you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, make sure to share them on our Instagram page, Može Kafa Podcast. Приятно!